Hey Techno Studs, I want to remind you that I'm not an investment advisor. However, I do have a lot of experience in this area. Although I don't do this on a day-to-day basis, I've been doing this for years. I've gone through ups and downs. I've been an investor for a long time, well before cryptocurrency was ever a thing. I've gone through a lot of training. I've went through a lot of books. I've read a lot of articles. I've done a lot of researching with playing around with investment models. I have a good grasp of what the market has done over time and what can make you successful. Now, that being said, I'm not going to make any direct recommendations. This video is going to be more of just some considerations as you're getting into the market. I want to make sure that I'm not doing anything specific to what's happening here and now, but a video that's going to be applicable for years and years to come. So let's talk about some of those investment strategies and some of the investment considerations. When it comes to investing, what you're trying to do is take your money and put it into something that you will believe will grow in value. But there's a couple concepts that I want to make sure we cover before we get too far into this. So one of those is this idea of utility. Utility is how useful or functional something is. So when we take a look at something we're investing into, that item has a certain amount of value based off of its utility, how useful it is, how functional it is. And if we look at what the use of it is or why it was created, we can see that there's like some sort of value to it, and we can analyze what that's going to be. Let me give you a couple examples. I'm going to do one with gold, Beanie Babies, crypto, and the reason why is because these all have had ups and downs in the market and have had spikes in the market and it's come crashing down. And so that's why I bring these up. So an example of this is gold. Gold can be used as a conductor. It can be used as jewelry, as stored value. It's got a lot of different uses that gold can be used for. So same thing with Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies is a little bit harder to quantify, but the joy of collecting it, there's a playing with the Beanie Babies. This was something that had this really kind of crazy peak to it where a bunch of people started collecting it, prices got crazy, and then over time prices kind of tanked and they're not worth what they used to be worth. And same thing with crypto. Crypto is a medium of exchange, a store of value, or a unit of account. So that is those terms of what the function currency has. So if crypto doesn't have a medium of exchange, a store of value, or a unit of account, then it's not really fulfilling its purpose as a currency. So there we have it. There is the utility of whatever we're investing into. But there's also this thing called speculative investing. Speculative investing is when we're not really basing something off of some sort of quantifiable utility, but instead we are just thinking that it's going to. We have this hunch that it's going to increase in value. We see somebody else that's making lots of money off of it, so we think that we can make lots of money off of it. We have some sort of emotional investment into it, but we really can't put any dollars into it or value. We don't really understand what goes into the value of it. So this is speculative investing, and it's much different than investing based off of something that's quantifiable. So there's a balance between the speculative nature of investing off of a hunch, versus the utility of investing into something that you believe has a strong value and will return that value on it. A good example of this is the housing market. The housing market went crazy a while ago. And when it went crazy, it's because there was a lot of speculative buying. There's a lot of people that were buying a house in order to live in it, in order to use that house. But then there's a lot of people who saw that the market for housing was going crazy, so people were pumping money into the market thinking that it was going to continue to go crazy. This is more speculative buying. They were buying based off of just feeling the market was going to go up and up and up and up and never come down, to the point where the utility of it People couldn't afford it. People were being priced out of their homes. People were not able to afford new homes. And so the utility became where people couldn't afford homes anymore. And then the market came crashing down because too much speculation, not enough people buying for the utility purpose of it. So what I saw during the height of cryptocurrency prices is that people were doing much more speculative and hunch purchasing. They were investing into it, thinking that it was going to continue to go up, and less of from a utility perspective. They weren't thinking, oh, I am going to store my money into here and it's going to grow slowly. They weren't thinking, oh, this is a way for me to buy goods and services. Instead, they were just thinking that, hey, this is something that I'm going to make a quick buck off of. I'm going to invest into it. It's going to skyrocket. So there was much more speculative buying than anything from a utility standpoint. And that's why we saw things crash down. There's a market correction when that happens, when there's too much speculative buying and not enough utility buying. Now, I'm not saying never buy on speculation. In fact, there are a lot of ways that you can leverage speculation to really make a lot of money. An example of this is that I'm investing into my business, and I have no idea if my business is going to be successful or not, but I'm going to invest into it to see where it goes. And so there are times when you do want to be an early adopter or an early investor into things. And so I am certainly not saying avoid speculative buying, but there are some questions that you probably should ask yourself before you do it. One of those questions that you should probably ask yourself is, are you truly early to the market? And be honest with yourself. If the news is talking about it, if all your friends are talking about it, if everybody's talking about it, you're probably not early to the market. You may be early-ish, but at that point in time, it's too late. You have missed that point where you're going to see some huge gains to it. Another thing is, from a cryptocurrency standpoint, is there's so many coins at this point. Is there really room for another coin at this point? Another thing that you can ask yourself is, what is your history in buying things at the peak of the market? Do you tend to buy when things are up and then sell when things are low? Or are you really good at buying low and selling high? Everybody says buy low and sell high, but the fact is that there's a lot of people that are, that's why the market goes up and down, is because a lot of people don't do it that way. And so that becomes a problem. So just ask yourself, what is your track history, and be honest with yourself if you want to be successful in investing in the future. And then finally, also, what is your risk tolerance? And a good example of this is for a lot of venture capitalists, when they invest into a business, like a tech business, 9 out of 10 of those fail. And so when you are trying to invest into something and it's speculative and you think it's really going to grow, just realize that you're also taking on a huge risk. So even though there can be huge rewards, you're also taking on huge risks. So I have some recommendations specifically for cryptocurrency. It could be applied to some other speculative investing as well, but these are some specifically for cryptocurrency. Number one is invest in cryptocurrency only what you're willing to lose. I would say that a lot of the coins that are out there are not going to be around for very long, or if they are, they're going to dwindle over time and you're going to lose most of your money. The other thing is, don't invest if you feel really down when the market goes down. If you find yourself, it's bringing all of your emotions down when you see your wallet has gone down in investment, then don't invest into this. So don't, that's too much of a drain on your energy if you're worried about things when they go down. Another thing is only if you find enjoyment in it. So I would not necessarily recommend just for the purpose of making money in cryptocurrency, but if you really enjoy it, that's when you probably should be looking into investing into cryptocurrency, because it can be really fun to do. And then finally, rarely should you ever borrow money to invest into some sort of investment. And this is a philosophy I use across the board, is I really try not to. There are some exceptions like a home, I'll invest into a home. And there are times when I've seen people leverage some sort of taking money out to invest into stocks, but I would rarely do that. You have to be really cautious to do that. And I would really advise against it unless it's some really special circumstances.